Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome today to our tutorial session on how to use Plotly to do your graphing assignment that is for the first class period, which will actually be the second class period. So you'll have information on how to do this. There's a file that I have on the website. There's a link to the actual directions. You won't follow those directions other than the background information because we are not using the program that is in there. So I'm going to show you how to do it with the Plotly program, and if you follow my directions you shouldn't have any problems. The other link that I have on the assignment is how to get to Plotly, and the third link is there's a list of assignments. I will give you your assignment in class, you and your partner. So once you get to Plotly, I have a link on the web page to Plotly. This is what will pop up. The problem with it is we don't really like this new version of the Plotly. I'm not quite sure how to use it all yet, so I'm going to hit switch back to Plotly 1.0 up here. Now I'm logged in. I have an account with Plotly. You may want to get an account with Plotly before you do anything else if you've never used it before. So it's switching back. It always has this default information in it, so we'll have to get rid of that. So what we want to do is we want to decide what kind of graph we're going to do. We're going to do a scatter plot. So I'm going to go in and just delete this data. And now I have the data completed or eliminated. I'm going to go in and type in my assignment. Now the purpose of the assignment is to find relationships between numbers. There's two basic types of relationships, and then there's modifications of that. And that's direct. That's when one value goes up, the other one goes up. And there's inverse. Notice I didn't say indirect. Inverse. Inverse is where one goes up, the other goes down. If you make a graph and one goes up, the other one goes up, and it looks like a line, that's a linear relationship. If one goes up, the other one goes up, but it's a curve, then that's going to be an exponential relationship. Your job is to find the relationship today and turn it into an equation. And give me that equation data. So what we have to do is make a graph of this. So now we've already picked scatter plot. We're going to put, this was our x data, y data, so that's real easy. It's told us what to do. We're going to hit scatter plot. It's going to ask for a name. You can call it whatever you want to. And that's going to ask if you want to share it with people. You could go ahead and share it with me if you wanted to. You can give me nice messages if you'd like to, and it'll send me an email. Please click off of that. I'll find them. I'd rather not have 100 and something emails. Okay? Or you can just give me a link to it if you'd like, and I can go to it. And so we're going to click off of that. I don't know. Maybe that part won't work. We won't worry about it. So if I look at this, I hope you can tell that this is not a line. It's a curve. So right off, I know it's not a linear relationship. But what if you wanted to prove that to someone? If you wanted to prove that to someone, the way you do that, you go down here to fit data. And we're going to run some statistics on this. It's going to say you haven't done any fits. It's going to add a fit. We are always going to add a linear fit. Now what you can do is you can do exponential or whatever. But I want to teach you how to find this in a different way. You could say exponentially fit it. It might be able to find the answer for you. But let's go ahead and just put linear fit in it. And let's run it. Now, what we're going to look at is R squared value. This R squared value has to be equal very, very close to 1. Like 0.99 or better. What this is telling me is this is not a linear relationship, because the value is 0.89. What you can do is say, okay, get that out of the way, and you can click back on fit, and that'll go away, and I can see that this line doesn't even get close to going through any of the points. So I know it's not a linear relationship. I do know it's direct because it's going, one's going up, the other one's going up. If one went up, the other one was going down, you see something sloping downward, then you know it's an inverse relationship. So, or inverse exponential. So this is going to be exponential. It's to some power. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that fit. So let's go fit data. Let's throw it in the garbage because we know that's not going to be good. Click back on the fit. We're going to go back to the data. And now what we're going to do is a very powerful tool that's in Plotly and other software like this. We're going to pick data tools. We're going to pick the formula tool. What I want to do is I want to manipulate the X data. So I know it's some power 10. So let's just make it easy. Let's start with the squared. We're going to use this as the X data. We're going to go over here and say, take the X data. I'll put that in parentheses. Use a caret sign, which is shifted 6, and I'm going to square it. Then I'm going to say run that. And notice it puts it over in this column for me. Now I'd like to look at that graph. So now I'm going to click this over here, make that X, and I'm going to say, oh, let's do another scatter plot. And there's my graph. Oh, that looks like a line, doesn't it? Well, let's verify it. Let's go over and go, let's run our fit again. We'll run our fit. Let's run our linear fit. 0.98. And it's probably still not a line. I know, that's pretty close to 1, but let's hit OK. Look, it's not going through any, the only point it goes through is this one. It's not squared. So let's get rid of that. Go back here. You won't have to do tons of these. I think everything on this assignment is the 4th power or less. So now, make sure you go back, because if you do a new one, it thinks this is the X now. So let's go back and make that the X data. Let's turn that off. And let's go back to our data tools, formula. And now let's take the X value and let's cube it. And notice what it did. It moved over that squared data and it pumped the cube data into that column. I'm not quite sure why it does it that way, but you just have to make sure you're picking the right column. I want that to be the X data now. I'm going to plot it with a scatter plot. Boom. Oh boy, that kind of almost looks like that's a line. So let's hit the fit data. Add a fit to the trace. Run the linear fit. Oh, R is 1. Now the important thing I want is the slope, because that now does that for me. So what I'm going to do is, if I was going to turn this assignment in now, what I would do is, I'm just going to, I think, go over here, get real quickly, just so I can write on something, a Google Doc. And I'm going to say, okay, I know that X equals, so I'm going to say X equals. Excuse me, Y equals. And what did I have to do to the X value to make it linear? Well, I had to cube it. So I'm going to say the slope was 2, so that's going to be M, X, and then we're going to need our format here. I'm going to use a superscript. Let me show you that again. Format, superscript, which is also control period. And so I'll put in my 3. So that would be the answer to this assignment, y equals 2x cubed. So that's what you're going to do with each one of them. If you have to take something to a negative power, then the answer would be, there's a couple ways you can write your answer. You could say, If you had to do a negative power, you could say, let's make these a little bigger so you can see them. So I'm going to say, what if I needed another one? I would say y equals, maybe it's 0.75 x to the negative second. That could be an answer. Now, what's another way to write that? Well, maybe you remember this from algebra. Another way to write that would be y equals, make this larger again, y equals point, that didn't work, did it? Y equals 0.75 slash x squared. Oop. These are all superscripts, so let me take that away. Yeah. So y equals 0.75 divided by x squared. Those two would be equivalent. So hopefully you'll be able to work through those. I'll be around to help you. Come in and power hour if you can't figure it out. And hopefully between you and your partner you will be able to figure it out. Thanks for listening.